This project explores how Latino law enforcement police officers experience racism within the police force and the communities they serve. Do you know that, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, about 12 to 14% of law enforcement officers in the US identify as Latino or Hispanic? And 38% of those police officers reported that they have experienced racism within their own department. Adding to that, in 2014, a Pew Research Center survey found that only 45% of Hispanic expressed confidence in their local police to not use excessive force on suspect, compared to 74% of whites. And finally, in terms of the general public perception, there was another survey by the Pew Hispanic Center in 2009 stated that 70% of Latinos surveyed believe racial profiling by police is a widespread problem in the United States. Wow, pretty interesting data. Okay, now we will be focusing on a real-life world example of how racism takes place within the agencies. In 2015, a group of Latino and African American New York Police Department officers filed lawsuits against the department for racial discrimination. Officers reported being called racial slurs by supervisors and co-workers such as "spich" and "wetback." The officers described a culture of racism where minority officers were treated as outsiders within their own department. Here's a link to a short YouTube video that explains more in detail their own testimonies and their experiences. Moving forward into some of the history. Here's a concise overview of how Latino representation in U.S. law enforcement has evolved over time, along with efforts to diversity police departments. In 1987, Latino officers made up approximately 6% of full-time sworn personnel in local police departments, while in 2013 this figure increased to 12%, reflecting a doubling over 26 years, and in 2021 Latino representation continued to grow, reaching 18.2% of law enforcement officers. Lastly but not last, I will be attaching a video where I interview a Latino police officer and asked him a couple questions. Nobody was forced to do this interview. Viewer discretion is advised. The following content can include sensitive material to some individuals. I will not be sharing for what department this police officer works for, to respect his own well-being and privacy.
Hi, can you please say your name and what you do for work?
Yes, Eduardo Murillo, police officer.
What motivated you or inspired you to become a police officer?
Ever since I was a kid, I always liked playing. Whenever we played cops and robbers, I liked to play the police officer. It just felt like the right thing for me, and it just inspired me. And I always knew it in my heart I wanted to be a police officer. And I started looking into it, and as I got older, I just got more interested, and that's what led me to this profession.
Interesting. And have you ever faced any barriers or discrimination from within your department?
I wouldn't say so. Just some jokes that are maybe not considered professional.
Like out of pocket? Like what kind of jokes?
Something like, I mean, there's nothing terrible. It's just like, hey, like Cinco de Mayo or stuff like that, or burritos and stuff like that. It's not very professional in the field, but I try not let it get to me. Just, I know what I'm here for.
Yeah, and that makes you feel uncomfortable. No way.
It's not super uncomfortable, but I just don't think it's right. Everyone has different cultural backgrounds. So.
And have you ever feel the need to downplay your identity to fit in the department culture?
No, I always feel proud of my culture, and proud of my roots. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this.
Eduardo, how do you think your presence as a Latino officer impacts the way you're perceiving the Latino neighborhoods?
I think it's very important to see other faces. I think representation matters. So I think maybe I can inspire others to play a role in our community. And you don't have to be you don't have to look a certain way to be a certain profession. Anyone can take part of it in this. And so yeah, I just want to inspire others.
And have you ever been called out or criticized by members of your own community for being part of the police department?
maybe some people may feel threatened or feel like I might be um, betraying our race, but I don't see it that way, and I just know what I'm here for. I just want to do the right thing.
And do you think officers speak up when they see racism within their own department, and how do they handle that?
I don't think that has ever happened to me when the jokes are made, or those little jokes that I made. I think some people just kind of either ignore it or just kind of laugh it off, but it's nothing not a big issue that I faced.
And is there anything else you would like to add or say to the Latino community?
Yes, just be proud of your culture, and just know that it doesn't matter the way you look. You can take part in any profession you like. Just do it for the right reasons.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is just an example of how police officers deal with out-of-pocket comments every day within the agency they work for. Not to mention that some Latino community members often see them as traitors. I also interviewed another police officer, but at the end of the interview, he decided to not participate anymore because he was afraid that he would face potential consequences for the information he was giving, which is totally understandable. Thanks for watching, and remember that diversity in law enforcement matters.